What's up, guys? I'm back. I'm back from Ukraine. I'm still alive, and I'm gonna talk about the trip to Ukraine. It's gonna be a long video, but packed full of gems. Plus, I'm gonna show how I clean out my nostrils, and it's snot, pun intended, that hard. First and foremost, I want to show my gratitude for the organizations that made this trip happen. Thank you to Protez Hub for the most important task of finding the funds and getting our flights and accommodations. Without these things, this event cannot happen. And by doing this event, they are helping self-sustainability in Ukraine by not only just bringing our prosthetists to build body-powered prosthetics, but also train prosthetists from all over Ukraine to build body-powered prosthetics. Thank you to all these organizations. I'll leave a graphic up for a few seconds while I'm talking because I cannot pronounce all these names that are in Ukrainian. And also thank you to Enhancing Skills for Life and Protez Hub for the planning and organizing of the event. If you are a bilateral upper limb amputee, please seek out Enhancing Skills for Life. They are the premier nonprofit that is specifically designed to assist bilateral upper limb amputees. Enhancing Skills for Life runs a tri-annual meeting called Skills for Life. This event provides a key ingredient in recovery from bilateral upper limb amputations, and that is community. And that brings me to my communities that I want to thank. When I initially agreed to the trip, I didn't think about my dog, Lola, and the cost that it takes to take care of her. It got close and it hit me that there would be this cost. I wondered and debated with myself if I should ask my communities for this help. My time doing group therapy at the burn unit taught me to ask for help. If I didn't ask, I would be denying my community the opportunity to serve. My tendency is to serve, but I rarely give the opportunity to serve. I was surprised when we hit the goal in less than a day. It's interesting that I can break these donors down into groups that I work with or the communities. I want to thank them. I even included people who offered to watch Lola because that's a big offer. First, my blood relatives, my brother Fatu and his NAC friend Fred Paxton, Auntie Lorraine and Uncle Eliu, Auntie Pauline and Uncle Moses, my cousin Feleti Matangi, my cousin Isaac's in-laws Michelle Host. Thank you, Celasatila Matangi, for offering to watch my dog and live over here. I appreciate you. Thank you. And then this other community is my Utah burn camp family. A lot of these people I worked with throughout my time helping the burn camp. Karen and Ron Fife, Brad Wiggins. Hey, Brad, thank you. And also send me some spray on skin and I'll move you to the top of the list. Jill Clark, Erica Drone, to all of you, you rock. That's how we say thank you at our camp. My neighborhood and church family, they was in third place. Rod and Rita Reyna, John Murray, Tracy Whiting, thank you so much for coming over and telling about the history of your family with my family. Kobe Griffiths from the old neighborhood, you know what it is. That's my baller, that's my boy. Also Alex Telford, he's also a baller. Thank you so much. Then I'm gonna go to my fellow burn survivor family. Bill Alexander, appreciate you and appreciate all your comments that you've posted. Michael Goodrich, thank you so much. Vicky Hake, who both offered to watch the dog and donated. Thank you, you're awesome, Vicky. Then I'm gonna go to my fellow amputee family. Jeff Solberg, Dennis Coley, Dina Foster. To all of them, thank you so much. One of them is my snowboard team from all the way in Europe. Appreciate your donations. Appreciate you. Then I'm gonna go to my Enhancing Skills for Life family and fellow travelers. Christy Turner, Sean Johnson, thank you. Both occupational therapists that traveled with me to Ukraine. And then my family that came through YouTube interactions. John Vetterly, Devin Callis, Justin and Gibson, thank you so much. Next is my old friends from high school, Brian Colton and Mandy Jacob, thank you. And then my lineman family, Jackie Christensen Thomas, where she was married to an operator that I worked with. And then my Magna Pokemon family, Kimberly and Brian Heath, thank you so much. Last but not least, Team Prosthetist Chris Bashuk. Sorry if I butchered the last name, but I sincerely thank you for offering to watch my dog and never even knowing me. Now, I would also like to thank Andrew Adams and his cameraman from KSL and his video editors. Shout out to the video editors. I was one of you for covering this mission both before and after. You can see these stories. I'll put them in the links above and in the description. Our team that flew to Poland and rode a bus to Ukraine was Eric Nelson, bilateral above elbow prosthetic user, Mike St. Ange, quadruple amputee, elbow disarticulation below elbow and bilateral below knee, Anya Mareka, congenital limb difference at the shoulder level, foot skill user, Christy Turner, OTR, Shirley Ryan, Ability Lab, and co-chair of SFL workshops. David Rotter, CPO, experienced prosthetist, successful fitting of hundreds of bilateral upper limb loss patients, and Sean Johnson, OTR, founder of ESFL and co-chair of SFL workshops. To see what some of them experienced, you can watch this video put out by ESFL. Click the link above or look in the description. When I was asked to join this journey in the fall of 2023, I was a bit startled. And then I thought, there's no way they would let us go if it was too dangerous. Then I thought, the trip would probably get canceled by the end of March. As it got closer, we were advised to get an app that would alert us of their alarms in the area we would be visiting. I downloaded the app and I put it to Ivano-Frankivsk, the city where we would be. I didn't even think much of the app, and one night I went to sleep. Suddenly I was awoke by the phone, and it was making an alarm. And I said, why would I set my alarm to midnight? And then it was a sound that I was unfamiliar with, like I know all my alarms. Some of them are music, some of them are the kinds that comes with the phone, but this one was like, it was sounding like a bomb alarm. And I said, what kind of alarm is this? And it started talking, saying, head to a bomb shelter, do not be complacent. Complacency can cost you your life, or something to that effect. After that, it started to become real as to the danger of going to a country at war. I was scared and Googled life insurance. When I started researching the life insurance, I said, oh man, this is my chance to make $100,000 if I die. But it turns out you have to have purchased that life insurance far in advance to a trip like that. So there I was, not knowing what to expect, but encouraging myself with positive self-talk. And that's one thing that leads to resilience. That's a gem that I was talking about in the beginning. Now, Ukraine airspace is shut down, so you can't get there by plane. We flew into Warsaw, Poland on a 13-hour flight. Once in Poland, we stayed there for 3 days, and then the time came to jump on the bus. All the luggage is ready to go into the bus. And we're gonna go to Ukraine. Overnight in the graveyard at the dark of night on an how many hours bus ride is this? 13-hour bus ride. We're here at the bus station. This bus station How you get into Ukraine, no planes flying there. I felt a rush of adrenaline as we crossed the Poland border. We arrived in Lviv, where we had to transfer buses. There we were, 4 people with varying different double arm amputations, and 3 amputee professionals without amputations who spoke not a lick of Ukrainian, trying to transfer buses. Luckily, Protez Hub provided a translator and guide, Yulia, who kept us safe on that part of the journey. She would also teach us of the Ukrainian culture and customs with a cheerful smile throughout the trip. Currently, Ukraine is under martial law since February 2024. A curfew is in effect. This sculpture, it says Ukrainians will stop with the bare hands. And it's like a missile coming through. And then this side says something about the indomitability of the Ukrainian people. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion by Russia's army under Vladimir Putin's command, there have been 20,000 new amputees. That being the case, the number of double-arm amputees has also increased substantially. Because arm amputees are more rare, prosthetists often don't have experience in building arm prosthetics. A lot of money has entered the country to help amputees get prosthetics. This fact has often resulted with amputees getting the most expensive arm prosthetic terminal devices. They were thinking these would be the best because they are the most expensive. And sometimes that is the case. So these soldiers leave with expensive articulating hands, and they arrive in their houses to find out that those devices aren't very functional, and they're hard to learn, to even get the simplest things done. One soldier even expressed distrust in the devices we were presenting, because he had seen all these articulating hands and heard the amazing promises. At the end of the event, he said, "We gained his full trust." Besides the trust obstacle in European countries, it is uncommon to see an arm amputee using hooks. There is a cultural difference in the way hooks are seen versus prosthetic hands. In the United States, I've seen it more common for a person to wear hooks and prefer hooks due to the freedom it brings in living life independently. So, because we are bringing hooks and cable-driven devices, we were teaching against this cultural norm. Back to the trip. We arrived to the city of the event, Ivano-Frankivsk, around 6 in the morning, where we were met with an immediate air alarm. We're on Ivano-Frankivsk, and the sirens is the air raid sirens. Olena from Protez Hub met us there with Yulia. When the air alarms went off, I immediately looked around at the people on the streets, and I wanted to see if they were running for bomb shelters. They weren't. They just continued as if this was normal. Olena and Yulia ordered some Ubers to transport us to the hotel, Nadia. Olena also assured us that she would let us know if ever there was an alarm that we would need to head to a bomb shelter. And you might be asking, why would they take other amputees to a country that is at war? Why couldn't they just meet on Zoom or watch an instructional video? And the reason is that Enhancing Skills for Life, or ESFL for short, has found through their Skills for Life event that brings together double arm amputees every 3 years, that meeting peers in person is extremely empowering. Often, it is even life-changing. And this is the reason we, the other amputees, were invited. It's one thing to see these arms work on a video, where a new amputee can say, "Oh, it's just video editing," or "That's not real." And it's another thing to see it in person and understand, wow, I can do all those necessary things to live a full life. In fact, at the end of the week, one of the Ukrainian amputees confessed to me that when they saw me using these arms, they thought I was cheating in some way or using magic. And through the week, they learned it was real and that they could do it. 6 patients were fit with body-powered devices. Dave Rotter, CPO, worked with 7 local Ukrainian prosthetists and technicians to train them in best practices for bilateral body-powered fittings. Those guys, they worked from morning until often midnight. They were working in the lab, and they were churning out these prosthetics in a fraction of the amount of days it normally takes. Now, Christy Turner, occupational therapist, and Sean Johnson, occupational therapist, work with 20 Ukrainian occupational and physical therapists to provide best practices for bilateral upper limb loss prosthetic training, as well as share adaptive equipment ideas. Now, I'm not even sure that number 20 is right. I think it's a low ball estimate. They also help train the new patients in use of their prostheses. We American amputees also had the help of Ukrainian amputees Oleksandr Tereshenko and Vadim Svridenko, 2 Ukrainian ambassadors who showed those who had lost both arms, their family members, and the healthcare providers in attendance that living and traveling independently without both arms or more is possible. Proper prosthetic fitting, occupational therapy training, adaptive equipment, and use of toes all plays such an important role. Not to mention, side note, Alexander has a book that you can read, and it's called Life After 430. Check it out in the description. It's about when he saved his unit from being blown up by taking a lot of this shrapnel and explosion from this grenade. The ultimate goal of this trip was to assist in sustainability of the prosthetic industry within Ukraine. This means to teach the prosthetist and the therapist, but it also means to teach several patients how effective person-to-person peer support is. That is what differentiates this program put on by Protez Hub and ESFL from other nonprofits that are bringing prosthetics into Ukraine. And I'm so very happy to help and meet soldiers, therapists, prosthetists, translators, and just the general population of Ukraine. I gave them my presentation on my introduction, and my message was that they are the same person that they were before the amputations. Sometimes it felt that I was less than after my amputations, but I let them know that their identity lies in their heart and their mind. They have both heart and mind, and therefore their identity is not lost. I was able to share with them my identity, which includes humor. When therapists ask how I clean out my nose, I taught them snot rocket. The translator had a little pause to get through that one. The men in the crowd, after receiving the translated snot rocket, said, "Sign him up in the Ukrainian army." And I also showed them this video of me shooting an assault rifle. I believed they would like to see that, and I was right. Again, they said, "Sign him up for the Ukrainian army." It is an honor to meet these courageous men and women. When faced with the choice of continuing to have a country or give in to Russia, they volunteered to fight for freedom from tyranny. They are going through something that is in some ways similar to our Revolutionary War. However, their enemy isn't separated by an ocean. It is separated by a line on the ground. These soldiers come from backgrounds of professors, IT guys, butchers, bakers, etc. They are not professional soldiers, but they are laymen who feel the urge to stand up and fight for their country. I was able to walk around the city and see some of the monuments to the fallen soldiers. Christy and I were amazed at their ages, their courage and dedication and honor. And you might think it would be hard to walk around in a country where everyone's speaking a different language. But I got 2 words for you. Google Translator. I was able to go and do whatever I wanted pretty much. So the only signs of danger were just these alarms. They kept going on over our heads. These air alarms kept going off, and that just indicated like something was passing over in the air. We saw like the basement windows, they were all barricaded by sandbags. That's indicating that that would be a bomb shelter. I remember one night I saw a guy kind of being detained for just being outside. And the guys that were detaining him, they looked like soldiers and they had assault rifles. And then the last day there was a rocket attack on the power grid. We did hear the air alarm, and some people in our traveling party saw the rocket go over their heads. So experiencing all this danger and these scary moments, it was all worth it. And something to sum it up was one of the thoughts that one of the wives of the double hand amputees, she shared at the end of the conference. She stood up and thanked us for not only bringing independence to her husband, but she thanked us for bringing her freedom. One thing I know outside of her thought is that amputee patients aren't the only ones affected by this trauma. Family and friends are affected. She said because her husband was regaining his independence, that a burden was being lifted from her shoulders and her freedom was returning. And you could see that she appreciated it very much. These thoughts of helping others find hope were the thoughts that helped me through the fear. I remember when I come out of the hospital, and that was one of the things that caused me to panic, was fear and a loss of hope. And so that bringing this hope to them and sharing it with them to help them, it made it worth it. And again, thank you to those that helped with the care of my dog Lola, that made this all possible for me. Sorry for those of you that don't like long videos. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And if you like the video, hit the like button. Thumbs up. Guaranteed it will help the algorithm go out to the world. And thank you for watching. And see you later. Bye. I gotta go play Pokemon. Luckily, Protez Hub, enhancing skills for life, a tri-annual, well, actually, couldn't run that back.